With Disney hell-bent on remaking everything in their catalog, Hunchback is probably going to get remade. Eventually. Rumors say it got axed, but let rumors be rumors. I'm here to argue that Disney shouldn't remake this movie. These arguments can be applied for multiple projects and give the impression that animated movies shouldn't be remade into live action, since I'm cautiously optimistic at best and violently condemning at worst. Ahem, Moana. That falls into the violent condemnation pile. Hunchback of Notre Dame has a central character. It's not Phoebus or Quasimodo or Esmeralda. It's not even Frollo. No, the honor of main character goes to Notre Dame de Paris. And while I'm sure Disney will salivate towards the idea of filming at Notre Dame proper in France, once France rebuilds it after the 2019 fire, there are things in animation you can do that you can't really do in live action. It gives the building a lot of personality in animation. For example, after Frollo kills Quasimodo's mother, look at how the Archdeacon guilt trips him, using the various statues of the biblical kings who all look down in condemnation. Look at how intimidating they are to a person, because nothing escapes the eyes of Notre Dame in Paris. The angel glares in condemnation while the devil stares with great interest. This culminates in Frollo looking at the statue of Our Lady holding the baby Jesus. Notre Dame means Our Lady, and as such, Notre Dame is basically another character in this, as the setting. It becomes pretty explicit during the lightning strike that the eyes of the Mother of God stare at Frollo in judgment. This isn't the first or last time for Notre Dame to do this. This movie is mostly a bottle show, taking place in the cathedral. As such, we get a lot of good environmental storytelling opportunities and moments, using lighting, shadow, and color, or lack thereof, to tell the story. It's environmental storytelling like this that is hard to convey within the limits of studio lighting and color correction. When Esmeralda sings God Help the Outcast, look at how the statue of the Queen of Heaven is drawn here. She's not looking down in condemnation. In fact, the hand of the baby Jesus is actually blessing her. Now look at the statue of the Queen of Heaven who gazes at Frollo. The baby Jesus clings to her while she looks down in condemnation. It's a level of subtlety that's easier to convey in animation than it is in live action. And before you say Disney can just CG it or order a bunch of statues to replicate this effect, I don't think Disney is going to be willing to invest in a bunch of statues, so CG is probably the route to go. And the fact that CG is being used so much for these statues says a lot about live action as a whole when it comes to remaking animated classics. Sure, sets may feel big, but there's not much in the way of personification of the actual building. And why is personifying the actual building so important? Why is it so important that Notre Dame be personified? Because it's not Quasimodo, Esmeralda, or Phoebus who kill Frollo. It's Notre Dame that kills Frollo, using a gargoyle. If you know the legend of the gargoyle is there to protect the church from evil spirits, and Frollo is certainly winning that honor of evil spirit. There's also the environment, snow, which means death, which is the weather Quasimodo's mother died in. However, lightning is used for judgment. Smoke from the incense is different from smoke from the molten lead burning. And if you think, oh, Disney can totally pull it off, then I think you're missing the point with their recent investment. They have played their works ridiculously safe and sanitized, as they did with their 100th anniversary film Wish, and they did with prior remakes. Their fundamental philosophy with live action remakes is to play it as safe as possible. There is very little room for creativity when it tries to imitate life, or what they perceive as life, in a fantastical setting, so closely. While the Under the Sea sequence is completely done well in terms of visuals, you see the problem immediately in the choreography. Once more, it tries to imitate what it perceives to be realistic, that it forgets to actually be creative and subtle. And with a movie like Hunchback, where you're awed at the vastness of the seriously, look at the scale of this all. It's hard to justify being on a set and just condensing all of it to the limits of a live action movie. More importantly, you miss out on the subtle nuances in the visuals. Or Disney wouldn't care because why would they, since these are just expensive versions of the late 90s and early 2000s Disney animated sequels that are trying to milk their IPs dry. That's it for this video. Please consider liking, subscribing, tipping the channel on Ko-fi. This is Cyril signing off.